I invite Sandra Setterly to say a few words and tell us about our future plans. Sandra.
Good evening. Thank you very much. I'm not going to address the issue of the Maldives this evening, but I would like to compliment the speakers that I've heard tonight, because the history of the Maldives is a shocking history, and that for 30 years they lived under a dictatorship whilst Britons, amongst other people in the world, spent their holidays, lavish holidays there, without being aware of what went on. I'm pleased to say that I wasn't one of those. I did follow whenever it was reported what was going on in the Maldives, and I think we have to congratulate this fledgling democracy that we have, and wish them well, and hope that we can continue liaising with the Maldivian government through their High Commissioner. I know that there's been an initiative recently by the President to open up property for foreigners, and that is for holiday homes in general, with 50 years lease renewable. One might think, well, is this good? Because these are rich people that are going to be spending some millions to buy a little piece of paradise. But I was pleased to hear the High Commissioner say, and I know it's a tricky issue, to make reference to the fact that for food on the table you need tourism, and there are many societies that are very much tourist-based as a substantial part of the GDP. So I'm not here to speak on the Maldives, but I really would like to congratulate the Maldivian government for their initiatives, what they're doing, and I wish them all success. Now, I'm really going to quickly outline a couple of meetings that we have that are forthcoming. In the first place, Third World Solidarity has been working for 25 years, and in 2011 we'll be celebrating our 25th anniversary. We address emerging market countries, and we concentrate a great deal on the Middle East, but we've had other meetings. For example, Joseph Stiglitz came to speak on Iraq with a book that he wrote at one of our meetings here in the House of Commons, and Gore Vidal was invited to speak on the Cuban anniversary nearly 2 years ago, not quite. We have a lot of big meetings, and we also have small meetings. We have a miner from Colombia who is in hiding that was brought over here from through Amnesty, who spoke. The meeting was attended by maybe 20 people. So we have big meetings and we have small meetings. And now that we're an all-party parliamentary group, we've continued in force because we've had meetings for a long time. But as an all-party parliamentary group since 2005, we've increased the number of meetings that we've had. So we will keep addressing the issues that we see as paramount for bringing justice and peace and democracy to the world. We are a small group, but we like to think that we are a forum for people that might not have a voice elsewhere. And on that note, I'd just like to announce a couple of meetings that we're going to have. There will be details on our, which is now being revamped, website. But we're having, in January, we're having another meeting on the Cuban Revolution, because Cuba has been still forgotten a bit with Obama. We'd hoped that it would be slightly different. February meeting on Kashmir, which is an issue that we've addressed on numerous occasions here at the House of Commons, and that thorny issue, as we all know, hasn't been solved yet. In March, through some of the big names, I have to blow my own trumpet here. As a journalist, some of the people that I mentioned are people that I've interviewed when I used to work at the FT, and now I'm a freelancer. And I've been trying to get Noam Chomsky to come and speak for us, and he's going to be coming in principle, though the time isn't finalized, but in principle he's going to be here on the 8th of March 2011 to speak for Third World Solidarity. The 9th of April, just very briefly, we are having our annual dinner, which is a fairly new event, but it's very well attended and an interesting event. So that's the 25th of April. And on just to highlight some of the meetings, this is not a comprehensive list, but on the next May 25th, we are going to be having a meeting on East Africa, which is once again a highly volatile area, but it includes, in fact, I used to live in Ethiopia, and we have one of our members of our executive committee is Ethiopian, who's organizing a meeting on Somalia to include Eritrea and Ethiopia, which should be highly interesting. That gives some of the highlights of meetings that are coming up there. As I said, small meetings and big meetings, and I hope those of you who are not familiar with Third World Solidarity, emerging markets, the name goes into favor and out of favor, but emerging markets we like to address and look at issues of poverty and so forth that I've mentioned, and it has come up on many times this evening. We're ongoing, we're small, but we like to perhaps shout beyond our means and give a voice to those who are often voiceless. We would love you to join us at any of the meetings coming up. Please see Mushtaq Bashari, myself, or our now being revamped to repeat website. And thank you very much for listening.
Andrew, would you like to say a few words on Maldives? Please come forward. I think it will be a large shake. Please.
Oh, there you go.
Thank you very much. I pressed him yesterday. Thank you.
Welcome for one of the meetings.
Wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Chair, Commissioner. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew Tuggy, and as David said, I run the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association here at Westminster, and as part of our programme on international outreach, we went to the Maldives. We took a delegation to the Maldives and then went on to Sri Lanka. Whilst we were in the Maldives, which was a very short period of time, we had the bulk of our delegation with us, I think 7 of us, but we coincided not purposely with the Commonwealth Secretary General, and we didn't meet, but we were aware of each other's presence. We met in our time the Speaker, we met the President, we met the Chief Justice, we met representatives of all the groupings in the Parliament, and we met the media. So it was quite a heavy programme, crammed into 6 hours. The messages that we were listening to and we were hearing, and Lord Sheikh is much better qualified to talk about them than I would, but I would just like to perhaps highlight some of the issues that we took away and some of the issues that perhaps people don't understand about this fledgling democracy that people have spoken about earlier. When democracy came to the Maldives, the system wasn't prepared for it. The Speaker was very open. There was no preparation for the transition. There were no parliamentary standing orders, the things that we take for granted here in Westminster and in many other democracies. Only the essentials were there, so they need help. The Interparliamentary Union is helping them with that. There were no cabinet rules, no means of conducting meetings in a democracy. The appointments were done on a one-by-one appointment according to the opposition, but we found there was still so much help required. The committee system that we're very used to here in Parliament in the UK and in other parliaments, summoning ministers, of course, hadn't worked. So the system wasn't there, the training wasn't there, the infrastructure of the clerks, the administrators of the Parliament wasn't there. So the Lok Sabha in India is helping, but there's more required. On the 6th of May here, the general public voted in a new Parliament, and 227 of the 650 MPs were brand new. In the Maldives, 70% of the MPs are new. The average age is 30. So not a lot of parliamentary experience, given what they've been through. So lots to learn there, and lots of help required. So how can we help? I think we believe that the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association here at Westminster and both Commonwealth-wide can probably assist. But it does need a sustained effort to help them. There's a huge democratic change and challenge. There are only 3 TV channels. The media is untrained. They need lots of help training the media. The Chief Justice was telling us some of the issues that he has. There has never been a Supreme Court before. The High Court had 5 judges, 3 of whom had to go to the Supreme Court. So the High Court judge now has 3 because they've got another one. The Superior Court in Mali and throughout the islands, I think there are something like 180 magistrates. To be a judge, you require a law degree and 7 years' experience. There aren't many of those people in the Maldives. So there's a huge amount of investment in terms of human investment and training required to be able to get the judicial system up and running. We went to see the President, who I've met before because he's very kindly come here to one of the climate change conferences we run. And he is, as everybody has said, a very, very impressive guy. And he was quite amusing because he said, it's quite interesting because the opposition are waiting to be locked up. And he said, because that's what's always happened. But I'm not going to do it because we're a democracy. He has an interesting situation because he has a government, but in the Parliament there are more members of the opposition than there are government members. So it's he has an interesting balance to work. And he was very open with some of the challenges that he had, and he tried to explain some of the issues that were there, and I think the British MPs and parliamentarians, I think, probably understood much more in the short time that we were there than they would have done had they not gone there. So I think the overall message is that, as one of the delegation members said, and it was really the theme, I guess, is that the world expects democracy, and that theme followed through in the short time we were there, and it needs a lot of help from us and from other countries in the Commonwealth, and I guess too from people like our colleague over there, the expatriate Maldivians who are here, who've got so much to contribute to their country back home.
Thank you. I think I will invite Lord Sheikh at the end if he is staying for a little while.
I have to be, I'm in between meetings. So if you want me to say a few words.
Can I get a couple of contributions and then you please? Yeah. Can I have questions and answer and any contribution? Adam, would you like to say something? Adam Minot, who has, I think, interviewed President Nasheed, is it right?
I've been
Mr. President, can you?
Former presidents as well.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, I to my shame, in a way, I'm very interested in international affairs, but didn't really get to know about what was going on in the Maldives until I worked in the region. And I did an interview with President Gayoom and played a small part in what's happened to the country. And I was lucky enough to go back to President Nasheed's inauguration, and I met him briefly during the day, and I said, wow, it's amazing what's happened. And he said to me, mark my words, he said, we've done the easy bit. And I thought that was a very mature thing to say, because for a man who'd been imprisoned 13 times and beaten, if that was the easy bit, but he was realistic enough, I was politically rather naive to think here he was a president of a new democracy, but he recognised the fact that in a way the hard work was just about to begin. And I think as the media, our responsibility is to keep Maldives on the front page as much as we can, and it's difficult to do it. Like the parliamentarians, when I go to my editors and say I want to go to the Maldives, they don't think much of it. They assume I'm going there for the paradise side of things, but there's another story in the Maldives which needs to continue to be told.
Thank you very much, Adam.